today we'll be focusing on risk, and I'll show you how you can take your risk workflow from this, which is that periodic and infrequent QSRA done sporadically throughout a project, to how you can automate that process entirely, leveraging generative AI to support with your reporting, but also leveraging our predictive AI engine to actually give you bespoke predictions for every single activity, leveraging your project's data, which already exists. With that said, I am going to get into the platform. And for those of you that are seeing the platform for the first time, just as a high-level overview, is that number one, we are a cloud-based tool, so you just go straight to the website and you can log in. Secondly, to get an idea of the project that I'll be using today, I am using this demo project. I have 3 different versions of my schedule that I've uploaded. I'll be using the latest one to run our QSRA. To upload a new version, just hit that plus button. You can drag and drop your new version of your schedule in a matter of seconds, and we support both XCRs and MPPs. Now, once you've uploaded your latest version of the schedule and you're ready to run your risk analysis, the first screen you'll see is this home screen. This will give you an executive summary of the entire schedule. The area that I'm going to be focusing on today is at the bottom of this left-hand toolbar here. I'll be focusing on our AI QSRA. Now, before we actually begin to build a QSRA within nodes and links, the first two things that we have to do and we have to prepare for are going to be building out our risk register or uploading that in if you already have one, and also creating our heat map for our duration uncertainty assignments. Now, the first place I'm going to start here is with this risk register. Again, you can either upload this by just importing your risk register straight from an Excel sheet into nodes and links. You have a template here which you can download to then map all of those different fields to the fields within nodes and links. And I'm going to be focusing specifically on this permitting delay, which you see up top here. So I've created my risk code, so that's 100-permit. I've named my risk, which is permitting delay. It has a single value probability distribution, so that's just a 50% probability that this risk will occur across the project. And then the impact is going to be a triangle distribution, where I can see it's going to have a minimum impact of 1 day, a probable of 3, and then a maximum of 5. Now, on the top right-hand corner here, you can actually turn on and off this mitigation feature. And this will allow you to add in different notes, as well as your mitigated risk values if you were to mitigate this risk. So what I can see here, the description of this delay is that our building permitting delay will be due to local jurisdiction backup, but we can actually avoid this delay by paying to expedite our permits. So by toggling this on here, I can see that post mitigation will actually be able to minimize our delay rather than being between 1 and 5 days to keeping that between 1 and 3 days with a probable impact of only 2 days. Now, once you've curated your risk register here, we can actually move into the risk screen to begin mapping out those risks, both across the discrete risks, which you just saw right there, as well as our duration uncertainty. Now, the second step that we have to do is we also have to prepare all of our duration uncertainty assignments, specifically our heat map. And we can configure that all through the top right-hand corner here, just by hitting configure. Down below, you have your duration uncertainty templates. You can configure your heat maps at 5 different levels. Select your distribution, choosing between triangle, a uniform distribution, or beta perp. You can also select a custom number of iterations up to 10,000, as well as a granularity of all the way down to minutes, if your project requires that level of granularity. Finally, you can choose to run your QSRA either by WBS or by ACS activity codes. The choice is yours as to how you approach your QSRA. Now that we've prepared our heat map, our duration uncertainty matrix, as well as our risk register, we can actually begin to then map all of these risks across different levels of the schedule. So when it comes to duration uncertainty, I can select from these templates to map everything to high. I can choose to leave everything on the project to medium. I can select specific WBSs like project dates, and I can just change this to low. And we can do this at the project level, the WBS level, or the activity level. You can collapse all of these and then select a specific WBS here. Again, I can change construction to high, for example, and then we can mix and match to suit the needs of our project. In the same exact fashion, we can do the same thing to our risk events. Now, at the top level of our schedule, I can either add or remove any of the risk events to do with my project. I can come down here and I can remove different risk events. I can also add in specific risk events at different levels of our schedule here. And once we've mapped all of our duration uncertainty and our risk events, then we can actually begin to either move into the activity level or we can actually run our results and just do a high-level QSRA. Now, with legacy tools, what we found is that it can actually be quite a daunting process to assign and map your duration uncertainty and discrete risks across schedules with tens of thousands of activities. Now, one of the unique features to nodes and links is that you actually have these checkboxes here, where again, at every single level of your schedule, you can just select and bulk assign. I've just selected 21 activities here in just a couple of clicks. I can hit assign values, again, for a duration uncertainty and for our risk events. I could bulk assign any of these risks that you see here. I could add our payment delay, for example, to all of these risks, which you now see are assigned to all of these 21 risks, which I've selected. Now, once we're happy with how we've mapped out the risks across the program, we can actually begin to analyze our results. You can either choose to run your results here by hitting Run New QSRA, and then you can analyze your results by toggling onto this Results tab here. And all of these P curves here are all interactive, so you can zoom in and out and analyze both your pre and post mitigation scenarios. Now we have some high-level KPIs as to our QSRA results down below. I can see our deterministic date. I can see the probability of meeting that for both of our pre and post mitigation scenarios. Post mitigation, we can see that it's at 84.6%. It's a little bit more pessimistic for our pre-mitigation scenario. I can see there's a 95% probability, pre-mitigation, that we'll finish this project at least 76 days past this planned finish date. However, if we were to mitigate those risks, we'd actually save about 71 days, and there's a 95% chance that we'll finish only 4 days past our planned finish date. So you can see those the mitigated impacts in real time here, and you can take this information a step further and your analysis a step further by coming to the risk drivers to see specifically what is driving those results. Now, just before we do, one of the main features that you've probably noticed through here is that you also have the ability to run your QSRA using AI. Now, this is a feature that we bespoke to nodes and links. Now, if I was to toggle AI on across the highest level of our schedule here, and I was to scroll down, you can actually see in blue all the bespoke predictions that the AI is making for every single activity across the program. The AI here is actually leveraging our predictive AI model to give you a bespoke prediction for every single activity. What it's doing is it's looking at actualized activities from the schedule, so actualized activities within version 2. It's looking at how similar activities in the past have performed and then applying those learnings to any future or upcoming activities in the program. So what I can see in this example is that as a planner, I've set my minimum impact to 9 days, my probable to 10, and my maximum to 11. After toggling on AI, I can see it thinks we're going to be somewhere between 9, 12, and 16 instead. So you can turn this on at every single level of the schedule. So if I turn it off at the highest level, we can use the AI for specific activities, for specific WBS levels, and you can really mix and match and curate your own experience, leveraging your own expertise alongside the machine learning to get a really bespoke final product. Now, once all of that's been done and all of your risks have been mapped and you've analyzed your results at a higher level, you can actually come into the risk drivers here. And this is where you can see the impact of your QSRA. So I'm just going to select Project End here as an example. And what we can see here is our tornado charts for our risk events, for our activities, as well as our QSRA results. And all of this is configurable. So I'm going to configure this chart here to actually show us our breakdown, where then I can see which activities are affected by those risks. I'm also going to change this to days so we can visualize this impact in a different way. And what we can also do is we can toggle on and off any of these different levels to customize this analysis and to really suit our reporting. So you can leverage any of these here to turn risks on and off, to report upon them, take them into account, or to omit them. Now, the same thing applies to activities. I can see my activity here, which are affected, and I can see which risks are driving them. We only added in our permitting delay, so you can see the effects of that risk to our top driving activities here. And then coming into our QSRA results, this is where you can see your P curve, kind of as we saw before. However, in a full screen format, you can select a custom P position here, either one of our kind of pre-templated ones from P50 to P100, or any custom P position by typing this in. You also have the ability to compare your results either with your mitigation scenario. So I can see our pre and post mitigation results here, or we can compare our results with the previous QSRA results from the previous schedule. So I can compare our QSRA results from version 1 to version 2. Now, once all that is done and you've analyzed kind of your risks in full, this is where you can begin to leverage the second aspect of our AI engine, which is the generative AI, and some of our AI agents to actually contextualize these results and then use the data that you have to either report upon, to share with other members of your team, or to investigate further, leveraging our AI mode. So what I'm going to do here is in the top right hand corner, I'm going to toggle on my AI mode. Now this is going to change the experience or the interaction with nodes and links. And it's going to open up this page here where I can actually chat with my project data. So what I can see is, just before this demo, I asked our AI mode to tell me what's driving delays in my QSRA results, which activities were the most affected, how I can recover those activities, as well as where I should start. Now, what we can see here is that the AI mode has actually spit back exactly what's driving my delays. It showed me my duration uncertainty, specific risk events, which I can see is my permitting delay. Sequencing and flow compression are also big factors in driving my delays post QSRA. I can see my top 10 delayed activities post QSRA. I can see exactly what's happening to each of these activities here. What is delayed versus our baseline. So contextualizing those QSRA results in line with our actualized progress. And we can also see some recovery strategies here, broken down between weeks 1 through 4, weeks 4 through 12, and then beyond week 12, as well as where to start. So what is critical, what's high, and what's medium. Now we can ask follow-up questions and we can interact with this data. So I'm going to ask the AI here to write me an email to send to my PM, summarizing the above. And then what it should do here is it will draft up an email that is ready for us to copy and paste and send directly to our project manager, leveraging all of that information we saw above, probably in a less so technical format, so that we can share it with kind of non-technical stakeholders across the projects as well. And as you see here, we have an email drafted up, with a table with the top 10 highest delay exposure activities, which are driving our QSRA results with that mitigation plan, as you can see in that recovery plan, broken down by weeks, as well as next steps to communicate to that PM. Now you can leverage this to really, to chat more, with your project data, to get more value, out of the data that you have on hand, to contextualize the results that you have, or to break it down to maybe non-technical stakeholders in the project. Really, you can interact with this, with your data kind of in any different way, or you can use it to report upon the results that you've just analyzed.